तुलसिया बजाए दिवाच रक्तोच हरन्ति ये वलिं तस्माहि निरङ्खत अपमत्ता यं किञ्चिवित्तं इधवाहुरं वा सक्केषु वायं रत्नं पनीतं ननो समं अत्थि तथा गतेन इदं पिबुद्धे रत्नं पनीतम् एतेन सच्चेन सुवन्ति होतु खयं विरागम् अमृतं पनीतं यतच्छगा सख्यमुनि समाहितो न तेन धम्मेन समर्थि किञ्चित् इदम्पि धम्मे रत्नं पनीतम् एतेन सच्चेन सुवन्ति होतु यं बुद्धसिद्धो परिवन्नयि शुचिं समाधिमानं तरिकय्यमाहो समाधि नातेन समो न विच्यते इदम्पि धम्मे रत्नं पनीतम् एतेन सच्चेन सुवन्ति होतु ये पुक्लायठ शतं पसत्था चत्तारि एतानि युगानि हुन्ति ते दक्षिणेय सुगतस्य सावका एतेषु दिनानि महत्फलानि इदम्पि सङ्घे रत्नं पनीतम् एतेन सच्चेन सुवन्ति होतु ये सुपयुक्ता मनसा दलेन निक्कामिनो गौतमशासनं हि ते पथिपथा अमतं विगैः लब्धा बुधा निपुतिं भुञ्जमान इदम्पि सङ्घे रत्नं पनीतम् एतेन सच्चेन सुवन्ति होतु यथिन्दखिलो पठविंसितोऽसिया चतुर्भिवा तेभिः असम्पकम्पियो तथोपमं सत्पुरुषं वदामि यो अर्यसत्यानि अविच्य पश्यति इदम्पि सङ्घे रत्नं पनीतम् एतेन गच्छेन सुवन्ते होतु ये अर्य सच्चानि विभावयन्ति गम्भीरपैन सुदेशितानि किञ्चापि ते वन्ति भुसप्पमत्ता न ते
Sanai, Supatenda. So this is in English, right? Is it in English? Okay. So, all blessings to all of you. Okay. Let's see. I'm very happy to see you all, actually. Because I'm also still like an ungrown child. Still I'm like that. But at your age only, I was in Southern Africa. I think most of you, maybe 18. How, 15, 18? I don't know. 18? You are 18? 17? Okay. Right. And there are smaller ones too. So, anyway, they have arranged this particular program. How am I going to... Anything you want to ask? Let's see. Anything?
Sorry, Bhante, we have some questions actually prepared.
Okay.
So we'll begin with that.
Okay.
First of all, I'll give a bit of an introduction.
Okay.
Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of this land that we gathered here and pay respects to any elders, past, present, or future. Good evening, and first of all, thank you guys for joining us. On behalf of the Saki Youth Group, my name is Sudesh, and I'm one of the Dhamma research coordinators here. This evening, we're incredibly fortunate and grateful to have a very special guest join us, Venerable Bambalapitiye Gnanaloka Thero.
Thank you, Sudesh. I'm Dimon, and I'm also a Dhamma research coordinator. The Venerable Thero is a highly respected Sri Lankan Buddhist monk, known for his deep commitment to meditation and his focus on making the Buddha's teachings practical for everyday life.
As many of you know, the Venerable Thero spent significant time in both the Himalayas and Sri Lankan forest, following a path similar to the ancient Buddhist disciples. His teachings are highly regarded for their directness, compassion, and inclusion of captivating stories from his own experiences.
We are very grateful that Bhante has given up his time this evening to accommodate us. We've prepared some insightful questions ourselves, and many of you submitted fantastic questions through the Google Forms. There will also be a short time dedicated to a live Q&A session at the end.
So without further ado, we'd like to begin the session with asking our first question, Bhante, with your permission.
Yes.
All right, so the first question, Bhante, was, can you briefly take us through your journey as a layperson before you were ordained as a monk? We'd love to hear about your early life, upbringing, and what ultimately drew you to the Buddha's teachings.
Okay.
Avasarai, Bhante.
So you know how to lay questions properly, right?
Yes, a bit formal, Bhante.
Making my things easy, because I have a lot of stories about my own. Okay, yeah, that's interesting in a way, because part of my life was in Sri Lanka until the age of 14. So yeah, I had a very devoted. No, my mother was very devoted. My father was also, but he was more like he still was interested in a lot of enjoyment and sensual world, sensual life. But my mother was a very kind of. I first saw her meditating when I was a very young, like 4, 5, or this kind of age. And I could see her peacefulness and all that during the afternoon. She used to try to make me lie down also. So I used to be with her when I was not going to school, Montessori, I think that time, preschool. And when I used to see her, that peacefulness, I thought this is a girl's thing, I want to be, I don't want to do this kind of, but it did make an impact on my mind, I guess. So, but while I was in Sri Lanka at Trinity, I was quite against English and all that, because I didn't like people forming into groups. In Sri Lanka, I call them the Annie Blyton group. You have this book still, I don't know, Famous Five and Annie Blyton. Do you have them? I don't know. Those days, so there was this one group of students. So I saw them as like another class of. So I didn't like this even at that time. So I was against English. Speak in English, I still kadua, like this. In Sri Lanka, there's a term. So anyway, at Trinity I was like this, but I used to also fight a lot and all that, At the same time, one time I really forget, a friend of mine, we both of us got the same thought. After a long time I'm speaking English, right? So I'll polish my English while speaking to you all. So anyway, there in Trinity Primary, there's one friend called Vaidyatilak. We suddenly imagined we were monks. We just got this sort of thought of, and we were imagining we were monks and we were going to run away from home. We know our family is not going to allow us to ordain. So we, like 2-3 days, we walk around a tree, like peacefully, like we are monks. This is the first time I would say I got this kind of feeling. And after 2-3 days, we were back to fighting and all this, making trouble to the teacher and all that. So it passed away like that. But whenever I saw a monk somewhere going, there's arms round. I'd never forget. I used to leave my everything and just go and worship. I don't know why I was doing that. I used to do that. But after that, I go and play. So this way it went on, and then around I remember 10. Like age 9, 10, my father was in Germany and so on. He returned back and I was interested. I was trying to find something final, right? Very dreamy. I was wanting to find something final. So I thought if we can make an engine which works with water, that will be nice, because you don't need petrol, that we can have an eternal kind of vehicle. So because my father's atmosphere of engineering and all that, I think maybe I got that thought. So anyway, I used to design in a board. He had these designing boards, and it was like very interesting, trying to find out. I used to draw, and he also didn't discourage, he encouraged me. So this was a beginning to think out of the box, I was like, school also, there's some puzzles. And when the subject is where you have to find some kind of solution like that, I like. But when it comes to suddenly you have to memorize and study, then I didn't like that. So later on, more things were like that. Some subjects were interesting because of that. And again, I got involved with a kind of exhibition. What was it? Some Japanese one where that was time my father encouraged me. I named this project Non-Stop Machine. Trying to transfer the energies from one spring to the other, taking these clocks. Okay, but I didn't know. I was searching for Nibbana in a way. Non-stop machine, where can you find that? With gravity and friction, all that, I didn't know. I was just 9, 10. But my father encouraged me in that direction anyway, that confidence. Later on, we happened to go to Southern Africa, Lesotho. So suddenly all my fighting stopped. I used to like Bruce Lee and all that those days. And I was small made, so maybe I had an inferior complex. Suddenly I came to some similar to here. The weather, everything, barbecue and cricket, all that was there. And the schools, suddenly, it's so different. It was very different. Then I suddenly had to learn my English. I could speak a little bit, but writing, grammar, all that, I had to work very hard. There, I would cut short, I would say I had met a nice teacher who encouraged me. He knew that I was looking for something. So 14, 15, like that, I was reading all the books like Bhagavad Gita, then Bible. Then slowly, finally, I was very interested in physics, this theory of relativity, especially this thing of time can be dilated, that time can be stretched. Okay? So like near the speed of light, relativistic speeds, that the time slows down. So for example, if you have if you have a twin, you take one and keep him here 1 year and put the other one in a spaceship with a lot of milk and all that, okay, maybe with the mother, and then send that particular baby for 1 year. 1 year passes on this earth to that other baby. For that other baby who goes near the speed of light, say you send him like that, maybe he has passed 3 months, few months. Okay. Later it was proven this possibility of time being in Geneva. So it was in theory form, Einstein, it was very interesting for me. So I had this particular part, and then I used to read my mother's religious books and all that. And in one of the books, there was this question where the king of gods in the heavens comes and visits the Buddha. And at that, then there's a description of that heaven, like 1,000 years on earth is one day there. And same like that, weeks and months and so on. So then the other planes also, there are other Devalokas, the divine worlds, and then there are Brahma. Now it looks fairy tale. But when you have this idea of this particular, possibility of time can be, not a possibility, it's a proven fact, that time can be stretched like this, then it just clicked that these planes do exist, right? So I have been thinking of all these things only, and I have not studied at all my IGCSE those days. I don't know what you have here. That's the International General Certificate of Secondary Education, Cambridge Syndicate. So there are the English language and English literature paper, the titles of the paper, like midnight, 11, 12. I used to keep the test paper, please don't do this, okay? The test paper and the syllabus. And what I did was, now there's no other way, I had to have a miracle to pass this. So I focused myself through the relativity, had faith, these planes do exist. And mentally, when I felt I was connected and I had no doubt that these planes do exist, why? This is true, then that has to be true, okay? Just because when Einstein got to know these heavens didn't start to exist, okay? This was already happening. He only found certain, he found it, and then we get to know that this could be possible. So when I was able to connect like that, suddenly when I felt I'm really connected, and I knew those planes, those beings are powerful, this is the way I thought. And then, approximated the English language, literature, there's an essay which gives a lot of marks. That essay part, this particular essay, the title of the essay for English literature and English language. So the next day I told my father to go and get for my tutor to get 2 essays written under these 2 headings. And my father, I didn't tell all this what I did, but my father was, my teacher was still thinking, the tutor, has he not studied all? He's just focusing on few, but he didn't say anything, he also wrote. And I went to the exam after 2 days or next day. Then it's like, everywhere in the world they are sitting at the same time, and our papers came. Soon as I opened the paper, there I see the 2 headings. That was like, for me, I didn't care about the exams, nothing. I was like feeling like the universe is like in my hand. This was the beginning, I would say, those days. I had we had no temples, nothing. Not much, I didn't know even the Tun Sutra. Later at the age of 18, when we went one temple, they were reciting, and I asked, what is that sutta and what is that reciting? They said, it's the Ratana Sutta. You don't know, son? Like that the monk asked me. So I had really hardly any knowledge, but this was a practical experience. And later, based on this, I would like to also share some of the things. Later, based on this, I had another experience where we moved houses, and it was like a very lonely, very peaceful place. While going for walks, suddenly like everything is going to finish. Something like this is called Anitya Sanya. So, and then time I was applying for the universities in Princeton because I was planning to study astrophysics. I thought, okay, from there only I'll find some solution. But I had this experience where everything was like going to finish, and that there's nothing in that vision. Only there is like anything that begins in time ends. This is how I word it. The experience, anything that begins in time ends. This understanding has no beginning. Therefore, there's no end. Okay, and I saw monk in my mind's eye, and I told to myself, you must be like this. Because that time even mountains, everything looked like just finishing, even the solid things. So that time the desire to go to Princeton, everything, because the longest thing that will survive in Princeton will be those, monolithic, I don't know, those buildings, the granite, those halls and so on. But I saw them, that also just disappearing. Had no desire whatsoever to do anything. That's the first time I really felt I want to be a monk. And then I knew monk is just covering his last body, all he's going to finish, and he's just going to make that get that perception again and again, be in silent places. So then with my father I told him, and it was not easy. It took some time. So on my own, but in college, in university, there was another problem also. We were mixed schools, and we had discos and all this, and in international school. So there, I never forget, there used to be every Friday, a disco. I think a disco, something like that. Maybe I was the person who really wanted to go there. So I was so interested, of course, but there was some shyness to ask my father the money for the ticket. I think that protected me so much. And because in those schools, I don't know how here it is, it's abnormal to be disciplined or to keep, virtue. There I don't know how to sell this, but I hope some would understand what I'm saying, at least the ones who are over 14 or 15. So that time, because of shyness about this, others I did sports, I used to play with my friends, all that. But when it comes to this matter, you know what I mean, this matter, I hope, the ones. So regarding the opposite sex, okay? So I must frankly tell about this. So that protected me so much, I would say, and created a personality. I could see other friends, what happened to them. They give in to these kind of temptations and so on, and you could see they become boom, nerds, I would say. Not a nerd, somebody they don't look strong, you understand. So, and I never forget, my teachers wrote in my character certificate, Shanaka has regarding character, irreproachable integrity and powerful personality. How did that happen? Because I don't know, unconsciously or consciously, I was shy to, do this kind of thing. And once one girl actually approached me, when I was, I would tell, maybe she would not listen. Her name was Charlotte, and I used to keep on looking at her for many, all the time. And then one day, one of the girls, they came and told me and they don't want to approach directly because of that certain purity, discipline. Unconsciously I did. Then that created a kind of a power, and so they didn't want to approach me directly. So send another girl, I never forget, and they asked me this question: don't you like to enjoy life? That's how they asked. Okay. So I said, suddenly it came to me, I don't know anything about this, Dhamma and all that. Until I know the world, I will not play with it. So what I meant by until I know the world, I had in my mind, there is one day I will come to a state where I will know everything. Okay? There is a state like that where you can know about life completely. And one day I will get to know that. After that, maybe I will go to all this. I will go and indulge in every kind of temptation or whatever. So I just didn't say this, but I said like this: until I know the world, I will not play with it. So that went on like that. But I had other small issues. I might tell these things also, this may be helpful for you all. I wish someone told me at that time, because of wrong information and wrong friends. But it's interesting. Because of this, I know all other friends, they are going partying, and sometimes they are coming 4 o'clock to the 4 o'clock, they have been in some party. And then, because bad company, even good people are going to be changed. So I always suggest, very careful. I don't know, parents, are they there? I don't know. Some of them maybe. They should be careful. This overnight, what they have, sometimes overnight sleepover, right? I don't know. And there's a story in Sri Lanka what happened to one of my devotees' son. So they had no money also. so this boy, he was always thinking in a very, I don't know, beyond his means. So he somehow put his daughter to the British school, I don't know, in Sri Lanka. So thinking, okay, I'm also very happy, very nice that, they get all polished up, and so I was very, very happy, but they can't afford that, and she has good, she can speak well, and she's very... So what happened? The father allowed also the sleepovers. And certain things happened. The sleepover, he didn't have no idea, he was thinking, so there the darker side also. So we must learn to take the good things from the Western culture, okay? And we must also take things which are going to, not take things which are going to harm us and make us look like, we are in hell. When we look at we should not look like, like very sad and, it should not happen to us. We should be like babies and bright. This lightheartedness and that happiness should never leave you. And you should not become overgrown very fast. You should have, at least at this young age, you should not be becoming that. And then after that, okay, I think this story goes on. Then my father, it came to a point that my father was very not so happy. Okay, he was not sure whether I will continue these things. Anyway, it took me 10 years. And those things, to get his blessings, and those things helped me. Parents, I realized, they are like the closest to the Buddha. That purity, that time I didn't think. Sometimes I thought they might have adopted me. That feeling also comes because sometimes, they seem not to understand you. And this feeling also came. I didn't luckily say that. But now I realize, oh my God, they are something. And one day when you become a parent, now I have never become a parent, but when I look at the other parents, I'm just feeling it. Even when I think about my own parents, how, so you must make sure that they are never hurt, okay? Nothing will go right for anyone. And, but if they tell you to lie or steal or do something, that you don't do. You must kindly say no. If you know it's against your conscience and it's something not good, not right, that you can say. But other things, even if you don't like, you must try to obey them, to make them happy. And shall we go to the next question? Let me see whether I covered. Wait 1 minute, Mali. Let's see. What good things I can say. Then I ordained, and later on when I did some things in the jungle, okay, I was in deep jungle where I had to come out, no human being, and some robbers found me and they treated me. I was also very, wounded, and they put me out. And how did I have my presence of mind? How did I have that strength? Somebody thought I have some special power that time. No. What was it? When I was really weak and no compass, in the jungle, commandos are put there for training. And it's called Knuckles Range. I was cutting across. Those days I used to go walking. And what did I chant at that time? Then I was 31 maybe. 31, yeah. So what did I chant? When I was I have fallen down also, and damage here, and all the leeches, have eaten me to remove like this. And how did I keep my presence of mind? I chanted something. My father bless me. My father bless me. These small things, it's going to affect you. So then I realized, how they are going to come to you, these things. So you must be very careful with them, never to go against them. They are the very, like Swami Vivekananda, once was upset with his father. Why? Because we also might feel this. The father, he asked, because maybe the father didn't earn enough money or whatever. So he asked once the father, what have you done to me? Then the father has said, go to the mirror and look. So just the mere fact that you are able to walk, talk and this thing, you have to reflect on that. Okay? So that will help you.
Thank you, Bhante, for the insightful answer. So you mentioned that you explored sort of different religions and they're different religious texts. So the Bible, the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, just to name a few, including Vedanta and things like that. So before finding your path in Dhamma, can you describe this journey and how this exploration of different spiritual paths ultimately led to the Dhamma? Like, what distinguished the Dhamma from other different spiritual paths? The other side.
Okay. Actually, through physics, I was brought to that, like the changing thing was connected with that, like the Dhamma, the experiential of the, actually I could see now with the original sutras, the Buddha's words, we are coming to that experience. Somehow I think I would have been an old monk in the past life and maybe died, and now, because it's just started to come out when I was young. The other part, actually, too much I didn't go in the Bible to say. There's some Genesis and all that, and maybe New Testament. But the Bhagavad Gita got very connected to me in terms of practicing even the dhyana, the samadhis. And like I should talk to those deity. And if talk to me is like, if somebody has some problem mentally, it's in the mind after all. So that felt so connected. And that was like those days, 18. The same thing, same time all these things start to come. And so sometimes now also some of these things are working for on the path as a side path, which I just do it for the people, even the Himalayas, my journey there. But the thing would be to get a bright mind and samadhi, which can be used for wisdom. Because what blocks samadhi is actually our reptilian brain. Reptilian brain means the 5 senses what we get, like from food and desires, video games and all that. It takes so much dopamine is brought out. So with the dopamine, your frontal cortex does not work very well. Your focus power, your ability to concentrate. So today, now I think I answered that, right?
Yes, Bhante. Just want to quickly just touch on, you mentioned Hinduism, and personally I can relate on a similar level because exploring different...
I will just give a point about Bhagavad Gita.
Yes.
I used to read the sloka those days, and kind of like, for example, there's a sloka about the dog beater and the Brahmin and all these different, and the same like a soul or sameness is there. The great pure sadhu, he looks same of all these people. That equanimity of looking, that I used to read the sloka and sort of get that kind of looking into people. So with that, it's a Brahma Virana actually.
Yes.
It's with that the compassion that all are equal and have to. So that came like the slokas you must be able to get a vision. So like few slokas I used to do like that.
Yeah. Bhante, when you compare, because in my personally as well, I found there's a lot of similarities.
We have a talk together, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Bhante.
Then bye-bye to all of you.
Yeah. I think we'll move on because it's
doesn't matter.
Is that
I'm joking.
Yeah, because
otherwise I can't get a smile out of these people. Now it's there. Okay. Okay.
So when we look at actually, it's interesting to note because you've got the Abrahamic religions, so that come from Abraham and the apostle, the messengers of God.
But I like to tell you because you're touching on a very interesting topic.
Yeah.
It interests me. It's funny, some of their stories are very similar. Have you noticed? King Solomon, the judgment of King Solomon. Have you gone through that?
I've personally, one of the things that really stood out for me, if I add a personal touch, is the ring of King Solomon, which had "This too shall pass." He gathered the wisest sages in his kingdom and was asked to give something that will allow him to endure good times and bad times. Correct. And he was given a ring that says, "This too shall pass." So he reminded me of anicca, which is a concept touched in Dhamma.
Do you know about the other story where he solved... before I'm coming, I'm reflecting these things and coming. I have a way of very interesting because now actually I use some of these things to think of Buddha in a certain way. If you look, there's one judgment, very famous judgment, where two harlots, they had 2 children, 2 babies, and then one was dead and both were claiming the living child to be both of them, their child. And it was a big judgment, couldn't be solved. So what happened? You never heard this? No. Then what happened? It was brought to Solomon, the wise man. He was given the gift by the universe or God or whatever. Then what happened? Both are claiming, that is their child. So what he did was he told to lay the child in front, and he got the guard's sword. He said, now that both can't this thing, I'm going to cut half and share it with the both mothers. And he raised the sword and he was about to cut. Then what happened? The real mother, what did she do?
Save the baby.
There's no DNA and all that those days.
Yeah.
She came and grabbed and said, no, please don't, please don't kill my child. Give it to the other person, and like that. Then Solomon decided that she was the real mother who wanted to protect the life of. So this was very interesting. Have you heard of Mahashada Pandita?
Yes, Mahashada Pandita. He's about the past lives of the Buddha. Yes.
And it was one of his. This is one of his judgment as a Mahashada Pandita. Did you know that?
I did not actually know that.
Oh my
Bhante.
God! Yeah. So my teacher used to tell me how these some similar stories during the Silk Route, that these things went also there. That's how he used to tell me. I don't know, but very interesting.
It is definitely Bhante.
That, and also I don't know Joseph. No, Yusuf.
You mean
In the Muslim they call it him Yusuf,
Yusuf,
and in the Christian they call it Joseph, prophet
the
Joseph.
father of
Joseph, prophet.
the prophet.
One of the prophets.
Yeah.
So he also, you could look at his life. It looks exactly a bodhisattva life if you look at it.
I found there very similarities in Stoicism. It's a modern day trend among a lot of males in particular, and there's a specific king called Marcus Aurelius, and what's really interesting about his life is that he leads a life of virtue despite the temptation to indulge in sensuality, and he sort of records his thinking process in something called the Meditations, which also has a lot of similarities to Buddhism and the principles of virtue, sila. Yeah.
So in different forms you'll find, you must get that spirit, not to label it as Muslim, Christian or whatever, I think. So it's another thing I would suggest, very nice one, is regarding karma. Regarding karma and to know about it. One book I recommend is Edgar Cayce, Many Mansions. You both know about it, I think.
I think we have a copy in the library upstairs.
Oh, very good,
Yes.
good. Yeah, it's very fascinating, interesting. It might change your life because it shows how we are responsible for our deeds, even what we are thinking. And it's a very basic, very clear truth about, like what we are going through. That it's not just accidental, something that we have to, then we can see the injustices. There's a proper understanding why these differences are there. Let's see. I hope you're not falling asleep.
I think we'll move on to the next question, Bhante. I did want to touch on though, what I was going to go to.
Very interesting, very good.
Thank you, Bhante. With the question, it was just about like how you've got the Dharmic faiths that have come out of India. So we've got Jainism, Buddhism, and Hinduism.
Yeah.
Well, Hinduism is an umbrella term to cover you've got different parts: the Jnana yogis, the Bhakti yogis, the Raja yogis. But if we compare, even personally, I found so much similarities. I think many of you, if you'd looked into comparative religion, you'd find there's a lot of similarities between Hinduism or the path. I'll just broadly say Hinduism and Buddhism. So when you take those parts, what was the difference? I mean, there's a lot of different parts. I was particularly drawn to Jiddu Krishnamurti, his teachings, and also Swami Vivekananda, Paramahansa Yogananda. So what would you say is the difference between Hinduism and Buddhism, broadly speaking? Because it's not as obvious as the distinction between Abrahamic religions and Buddhism. It's more similar with concepts similar like karma and samsara.
That's mainly the karma and all that is not very much in the Abrahamic. It's a different thing, but I could see the Trikarana Parishuddhi is a word used in the Hindu also tradition very much. Trikarana Parishuddhi means the purity of thought, word, deed. This is something, you could say Buddha also explains in Rahula Vada Sutra, in one of the first one I think, that all Brahmins, all yogis, or whoever, spiritual seekers, if they purified their thought, word, deed, they purified by reflecting before, while and after, whether it's good for me and good for others. So what is good for me or not good for me will be with anger, greed and delusion. And what is good for me will be without anger, without greed, without delusion. That means with compassion, with detachment, with egolessness. So this is how, and you can see, even the reviving Hinduism. Now Hinduism also goes to a level where they go for pujas, culture, this thing. And then suddenly some master or some being comes and gives even like Mahatma Gandhi or even Swami Vivekananda especially, they touch the core. And then actually he also tells the oldest texts, most of the things came from Buddha's teaching. That the Palis, now they are trying to cut this thing, is when you read this thing. But you can find they were really realized souls. When the realization, when you interpret, then it's very different. Even the Dhamma now, you become very fresh and you take all the unnecessary things away and keep all the artificial things away, and you become just purely try to find what is true. And because if it's really true, it will stand the truth. You're not trying to protect truth. Truth doesn't need protection.
I really like that sentiment of seeking the truth rather than just trying to label and trying to...
And make it a truth, Truth will stand on its own. So, it's so like this now, Swami Vivekananda and all that, very interesting. I will tell you this point. It might help you all in this sensual day and age. I think you might be knowing already.
Yes.
Because to have heroes, we need heroes. We need things, because we have to see volume. If you see like this spiritual thing is something, now sometimes you might get, because the society and the environment we have to face, what is this, is it only my grandmother and all these people going for this particular Buddha's thing and I also just follow her? Or is it really relevant to you? Do you really need to follow this? Or how many of you, I don't know, forced by your parents came here? Or have to tell so many times to come? Or were you feeling drawn to come? How can it be made drawn? I will tell you. Swami Vivekananda, very interesting. I will tell his background a little bit. In 1893 or 94, something like that.
I think he was a contemporary of, a lot of our people are familiar with Dharmapala. He was Anagarika Dharmapala, so he lived at the same time.
Same time. Okay, all of you familiar with Anagarika Dharmapala? No? Yes, no? No, okay. He was like a person who revived, during the British time. That's a difficult time. That time he came and kind of try to protect Buddha Gaya and bring back to Buddhists and all that. He was a very fiery person, and he lived a very hard life. He sacrificed a lot, so he's known as a very big spiritual national hero leader. So same time he represents Buddhism. There was a parliament of religion in Chicago in 1890 something. Okay, so in that time Swami Vivekananda also was going. He was a Swami. You know what I say, Swami? Do you have an idea? No? In the Hindu tradition, there are like also yogis who meditate, okay? Who are like controlling their mind and trying to get the mind power, okay? Not any other kind of, so these people, they lived a very tough life and tried to communicate with truth or God or whatever. So he was one of them, someone like this. So what happened now, most of all the people, mostly they don't believe, they don't think this exists, right? Unless they see it something, let's say suddenly some monk flies up, okay, then you can feel there's something here or do something. So anyway, he was a fiery young person. He also wanted to prove the world that God does exist. So anyway, he was going to America to join this parliament of religions. He also went. He lost the address, and it's very interesting how you can't go arms round. Now here also suddenly you stand in front of a house, no one will give you food, right? It's not going to be easy. So he went like this for some days, and he was very hungry, and he stayed in a sort of cabin. And next day, someone saw him, and one lady came from a front house and said, Are you one of the delegates to Parliament of Religions? Then he said, yes. And to see, she has seen his master, his teacher in dream that night. And then and showed him, and then this picture of him. So she saw him in the morning, and then she thought, oh, this is the person I saw in the dream. And then called and invited, and then took him to that place. She didn't have the address. Then what happened? He went there, and then also they didn't want to enter because he had no credentials. Luckily, on the way, he met a Harvard professor who was very impressed by his wisdom and his knowledge. So he had this address. He told, they are asking for a credential. Can you please give me a recommendation? He said, of course I will give you, Swami. They are telling, he wrote, if you put all the professors together in USA, you can't equal this man from India. And he says, it's like telling, he would told Swami later, it's like telling sun not to shine. So this still he was unknown. And then he went, he was able to stay there, but he was so shy, there are like 7,000 people. So he waited until all others gave the speech. And then finally, when his turn came, it is said something happened to the Parliament of Religions. He only said these words, sisters and brothers of America. That they say that his voice is like a, like a Chinese gong. Go dum, something like this.
Bhante, I'll just add you can actually watch the actual original speech, and I've watched it, and everyone just applauds when he says that. Yeah.
Right? Is that the real? I really doubt it. They had no recording as such.
I see.
So I know I'm not sure.
Not sure.
But applaud also, I don't know whether it was recorded. I think they had no microphone. I think something at that time.
Yeah.
They had pictures of it.
Maybe I'm mistaken. My memory mistakes.
But they're trying to create it like how it happened really.
I see.
But there's an interesting point about this. Sisters and Brothers of America, just, they say, in the papers, Chicago Press, this and that, they're writing. We felt like paying tribute to someone, we didn't know who he was. But we felt like paying tribute. And like that, everybody was searching, who is this Hindu monk, and he became very famous. So later on, they asked Swamiji, what was that power that you had, when it went out like this to the people, and, what was that? It was some power, people felt it. He says, in that tradition of, mystics or yogis, there is a practice for 12 years where they control their thought, their mind. They control their mind thoughts, even they don't desire. They allow not to have desires for, say, chocolate or food. Okay? And for any other sensual thing, they don't allow for 12 years. They control through mantra and disciplining and keeping away from people. When you do that, he says, there's like a kind of a, like a screen in your brain which is covering, it gets removed. And when it gets removed, there's a special nerve which has never functioned up till then. It starts to work. When it starts to work, there's knowledge, there's power in that particular, this thing. Actually, he tells, especially I didn't want to tell that, he tells actually sensual thoughts.
So brahmacharya.
Brahmacharya. Sexual thoughts, in fact, but I didn't, I told already. So these thoughts he controlled for 12 years. And then that same thing, this thing went away, and then the special nerve, so which he practiced for 12 years, that purity came out through his voice. So these are very interesting things to know. If you want to make something, do something in life, so with brahmacharya.
Thank you so much, Bhante, for the answer. We have a question about that's coming soon, but we have a few more questions we'd like to get through, so I'll just pass it on to Diman to ask that question.
Venerable Bhante, many Sri Lankan Australian youths in our community struggle to connect with the Dhamma. Sermons are often in Sinhala. The scriptures use different languages, and cultural language barriers exist. Some youth view Buddhism as just another religion with blind beliefs that is unscientific, leading them towards atheism. What would be your response or advice to these young people?
No, you're right, you be like that. Because same way I saw, you see, all my mother's pujas and all that. So I didn't see I didn't see a philosophy, I didn't get the opportunity to see these things. So it's right for you to be like that. That's why I searched through physics, Bible, and then like this I started to this thing. But I hope now we are having, not like those days, we are having books. Don't just reject it without looking at it, without studying it or trying to investigate that. Don't be prejudiced to anything. To be atheist, I don't tell you not to be atheist, but I don't tell you to be atheist. Okay? So just be honest in search of what is true in life. Even if you have to get that knowledge from a beggar, you learn to do that. I did that. When I found the beggar had a lot of knowledge, I sat with him and then daily met him many years back as a young boy. So you be thirst for knowledge and truth. And maybe then you might see in Buddha's teaching, but try not your mother, father, what they're doing. Their original teaching. They are like what he spoke is called, one book I could say, what Valpola Rao. I don't know for young people, what book, Spectrum of Buddhism by Piyadasi Thero and all that. It talks about karma and give a lot of answers to what is happening around us. So if you're really searching, and it makes you a nutshell in Buddhism by Narada Thero. Those things I think it really struck me with my mother. She had some books. Nutshell in Buddhism like that. You can try read that and read other books also and see. But
Bhante, correct me if I'm wrong. One of the things that I came across when reading the suttas is that the Buddha, I think it was Ananda or Sariputta, was asking the Buddha, how should we regard other teachings, so other spiritual paths? And the Buddha said, if those teachings, they lead to wholesome qualities increasing in the mind, and for unwholesome qualities to decrease, then it is, something that, there's no fault with it. I don't know if that's correct, but I apologize if that's wrong.
It's correct, perfect.
So I found that a very beautiful, because it's very inclusive. It means that Dhamma can be everywhere. So
I tell, like if it makes you pure by going to a church or a mosque, go there. That is the purpose. You have to get, Buddha will be very happy. Because I think Buddha was never Buddhist. Do you think so? Buddhism came later. But Buddha is an enlightened being, and you have to begin to know this. And when you read the original teachings, you'll find he talks about, actually Buddhism is called phenomenology. If you're an atheist, this is the best teaching to study. Because there's no God as such. He talks about God also, but he talks how God gets created also. You understand?
The Brahmajala.
Yeah. There's so if you're really searching, if you're really interested in knowledge, I think you should do like that.
Thank you very much, Bhante, for that answer. I think
he's an interesting person. Eh?
Oh.
I didn't know I would meet someone like this in Melbourne.
No, I think there's so many people here in this crowd that are.
You're very lucky, my friends. Really.
I'll just move on to the next question, Bhante. It's that the law of karma and rebirth is a core teaching of the Buddha. Yet some young people find it challenging. They see it as an outdated superstition or incompatible with the rational philosophy of Buddhism. So like Buddhism seems like, it's very philosophical, but then they get the rebirth and then they get disappointed because it's very hard to sort of make that jump, the leap of faith.
I understand.
So how can young people approach the concept of karma and rebirth without falling into blind beliefs and superstition? Right. Is the question.
The karma and rebirth falls under... Can you see gravity? These are like rules and like certain mechanisms of nature, but through mathematics and through what we have used it, we can know. So same way, rebirth and karma are not seen things. We can't, it's functioning. How to know? There's one time, Balangodananda Maitri, I don't know, this Bhante. He was a very senior, very nice, great monk. He was asked one day, can you prove rebirth? Can you prove rebirth? Then he told the person, can you picture a flower, any flower that, can you imagine in your mind any flower? Then I think maybe he pictured some flower and he said, what is the flower that you picture? And he said, it's a rose. Then he asked the person, can you prove that you pictured a rose? This is something happening in our consciousness. Okay? Rebirth especially, it is a consciousness that is absent here and then going to form in another this, what happens, we don't see at all, we only see the dead body. Okay? So this, even now the consciousness is there. So in Buddha's teaching, consciousness is well realized and understood. In the modern science, still they are researching. They are thinking it's still in something in the body part, in the brain. So that's going to be really, you're never going to, they will have their researchers going on and they will have some money to eat and survive. Okay, but the Eastern philosophies, they know, the rishis, they already knew. That's why they knew about karma also. Okay, but now I will tell you how to know about karma. I also don't like to believe like this, really. I told you, without researching and studying, don't come to conclusions. That's not the right way to search truth. You understand? It's not the right way. You're going to miss a lot in life if you do like that. You search, look, you keep open, and then come to conclusions how facts and things come into your hand. And if you already have an answer in one direction, then it's like someone who is pretending to be sleeping. Okay? Then what? Even if you if you tap him, he will keep on like he's sleeping. So you must be really open. You must be, when you sleep, you must really be sleeping. When you're awake, you must really be awake. That honesty, if you're there. So one thing I would say for karma, I refer this Edgar Cayce Many Mansions. These are very interesting because he's from a Christian background. He used to go into an unconscious state and he's to diagnose people's, modern day problems. Going back to Crusaders' time, what they did, what they said, what they did, what they thought. I know, I will tell you one story. There was one lady, she used to show her hand in New York to sell jewelry. Her hand was so beautiful. So she showed her hand for the advertisements, and that's how she used to live. Put on the jewelry and all that. And she was also spiritually very inclined. She had some problem, something, and she came to Edgar Cayce where nobody was able to solve, doctors or psychiatrists. So he got to know about, he was known as Miracle Man of Virginia. So she came to him, and he went into this unconscious state, and then he doesn't know what he's saying, but he said previous life, maybe 2-3 lives back, she was a nun in a monastery. And she has been, she has been cleaning those, toilets and everything so with great faith and, without feeling yuck, like she did that with that faith, that attitude, that kind of this thing, how it brought that beautiful, extremely beautiful hand and so on. So there are many like this. That will be interesting. And there's also about rebirth, research done. Because there are basic, then you know that we are responsible for, our good and bad things we are doing now. And so I also have many things of my personal life, maybe I might tell regarding going to the Himalayas and even being as a monk. Okay, I will tell you one maybe. It's coming to my mind. Just as I became a monk, before monk also I used to take a plastic bowl sometimes, and some few days I used to go without money because I was so anxious to experience this life, and with little permission of my parents, I did this time to time in Anuradhapura in Sri Lanka and Katharagam area during the festival time. There's like food easily available, but still I used to go from house to house also wearing white and all that. And so after I become a monk, the first time in Anuradhapura, I was going with my bowl. You know Anuradhapura, right? Going for alms round. Early morning, I'll never forget. That day I went, just the daylight is coming, and I went house to house and I got some food. And between Jayasri Mahabodhi, the Bodhi tree and the Ruan Valley Sahya, in between I was looking for a place to take my dana. So anyway, I went like this. Suddenly there was like a nice opening place. There are steps and I went down, and like a stone hall made out of stone. It was very nice. I sat down, and there was like a marks of a feet of maybe some great teacher in the past was seated there, and I don't know. Anyway, I sat down nicely. It was so comfortable. There's a long place to sit down. I took my dana. And I was curious, what is this place, So after finishing my food, I went and I read the board. You have this archaeological board, there. It is the, what you call the Dhanashala of the old monasteries. The place where monks take food, the cafeteria, what do you call that in English? Dining hall. So I was wondering, I'm the only one left now. Maybe. Maybe, I don't know. It was interesting. Yeah, like this, so many occasions you get, you feel maybe you'd have been, there's no other way to answer that. Like in the Himalayas, some places I'm more familiar than the people living there. So how can I explain that? And the prodigies, some people who have special, like Beethoven and Mozart, how that genius come?
Thank you very much, Bhante. I would just like to add, when we look at Edgar Casey and Ian Stevenson, they're very, I guess, secondary sources. But
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, Bhante. So when it comes to the stories of Edgar Casey, there's also a professor called, I think, Ian Stevenson, who studied rebirth. Yeah, so these are, I guess, secondary sources. Are there any primary sources? So what that means is that from our direct experience to, to confirm rebirth, to confirm karma, are those practical realities or those possibilities exist?
How to tell you this? Even this meeting, it's some karma. Being a forest monk, being a yogi, okay? Being, you might think, suddenly this was arranged and we are coming. Maybe I don't know how to tell you this, but I must show you something in my bag, okay? Because you want something very, now 3-4 months back, in Sri Lanka, for like 12 years, they have been making an ashram in Sri Lanka. I was not sure whether I'll come or not. I'm doing my thing. And 3-4 months back, October, like this, certain things happen. I think last program I explained, like meeting some rishis and how they encourage me, the suttas, how they are happy, something happened in the brain and all that. Were you there? Okay. So I'm bored now. I've been telling this all the time, again and again. So then I had to start this, and then I started the retreats and all that. Okay, and the ashram is functioning. Now some who were close to me also, they changed. They thought Swamin was doing ashrama. Maybe they didn't like. They thought they want to picture me in the jungle and so on. Now is the time I have to do something for the people. If I'm going to just finish and go, then it's not. If I don't do, it will be a problem for me. So some even I feel they sort of went away. So anyway, this thing, I have something written here, which I 4 years back, 2019. Shall I read that? So because
yes,
make it very practical.
Yes, Bhante.
Okay. Maybe I might.
Did you need a hand?
Because I also don't like to, I research a lot and really see whether it's really true, karma is true, or rebirth. I don't want to follow something, whether, let's see. I think to public, some organizers I happen to show, but as you wanted, not a secondary, but an immediate, assuming I'm not lying, Okay. Okay. So I told you, maybe you are not familiar, Attanagalla in Sri Lanka, the Sri Ramaniya Ashram, it is functioning from about 3 months back, 3-4 months, that is October 18, this period, it was started, and the programs are going now, silent retreats are going up in the absence of me. Now here I'm also I have come to do that, to give a deeper experience of the Dhamma now. This is the time, and it has possible. I'm very happy with I'll have to go there also later, and tomorrow it's like their full last day. So anyway, maybe I'll show it to you. Okay, I can't show everything. Let's see. This was like 2019, I have written this note. Would you like to come and see? Maybe, okay, you can read this part. You can see the date, right?
Yes.
2019,
Yes.
30th 10th.
Yes.
Within, can you read this?
With With 4 years, you will establish ashrama, spread systematically.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this was 2019, and while I was doing this, suddenly I found this, which so this is karma. Okay. Do you get some idea?
Yes,
And
the ashram was established.
Established means they were making it. So like 2012, they have found the plot and all that.
Yes.
But they were waiting when I would ever come and do something. Of course, they are also not finished, and I was also doing my thing.
Yes.
And finally, it came to a point where I have to do it, and it came exactly from this time that this was written to 4 years. So that is karma is there. We have to learn to see these things sometimes.
Yes.
So it's something very personal I wanted to anyway, because I don't know how much you will understand. So in the karma, it's something like the rishis, they happen to see the karma. That's very important. In their divine eye, one part of their divine eyes, they would not see bodies. They would see karma working through your body. Like, what is the type of karma you're going through? What karma you did to go through that, and when it's going to finish with their divine eye. So this is another vision. If you are going to, to know these things, you have to develop another faculty separately. That's what we call meditation. If you don't develop that faculty and then just limit your life to 5 senses, you will never know. You will die. You die. So how to, from this reference to these experiences, we can know this is happening. Okay, even a lot of things in physics and all that, from inference, how do you call it? From inference, right? Yeah, from inferencing only you can know some truth, and that's done in science also. So this is the way we can do this also. We will never see karma as such, we will know it, as an intuition we will know. Okay, in my case, in the beginning, like I was really problem with me, like with my father. Like father was thinking this way and I'm thinking that way. So I didn't tell him all this thing, but we could feel the tension. And he wanted me to finish the university, the degree and all that. By that time I had no desire to go to anything, to university or anything. Then what happened? My father, then I used to meditate in, at Dadagala. I was to go to America. Then few days I was in Sri Lanka, and there was a jungle in Dadagala, and Anuradhapur area. I was 18 that time, but 4 days, 5 days I spent there. And while I was doing the walking meditation, suddenly I felt very alone with the animals and the devas. I felt the devas are there, devas means the deities are there, and the animals are there, and myself alone in the jungle. Suddenly, like an intuition, it came, due to my father's past karma, I am coming as the son. For me, for my karma, my father is coming as a father to me. That's how our relationships formed. And there's no fault in my father, nor there's no fault in me. So this gave me a lot of peace, this personal awareness. It gave me a lot of peace regarding, this matter. There's another one, if I remember, shall I tell some few regarding karma,
What do we think, guys? Would you like to hear some more story?
About karma, practically what I experienced. Would you like to? Or are you going to fall asleep?
I think see a lot of nod.
This
Heads
guy
nodding
looks
yes.
very nice, Very good.
Please share, Bhante.
I like, very good. Okay. I'll tell one story. It might interest you. You might learn about karma, After I become a monk, okay, one thing I will tell. After I became monk, one monk inspired me also just close to becoming a monk. I have told this story before also. But this monk was living under trees and all that. So one day I saw him. This is to show the potential. What we are seeing, we can become that. Even good and bad. What comes in the range of our consciousness is showing what we are. Not that is separate from us. Okay? To get this idea practically. So this monk was so inspiring. He gave me inspiration to become a monk. Like, my main problem those days was how to live a brahmacharya life all my life. To make the final decision, it was this thing. So he just made it like simple. With samadhi, with dhyana, you can just suppress it. Like that he told me. He made it looks very simple. So later he was in Katharagama area. I don't know whether you know Katharagama, where Vihara and all that. So then after that he went walking, in between there are people who are selling flowers. And I could see him, he's not stirring anywhere. So inspiring to see how he's walking. Not looking anywhere, just with his meditation object and just cutting across. It looks like super, he's like a hero. Really going through, not distracted by anything. And I thought how wonderful it is, Then I thought, this is like sky and earth. I can never be like that. So later, after 1 year, I am also going. Okay. This is one story what happened to me that time. Then same monk, I want to pay respects after 2 years or 1 year with my teacher. So I went to meet him again. And in the night, he was still living under a tree, and he got a very powerful, inspiring discourse from him. And I was staying in a sort of some devotees, some people, they had a place. So I was staying there, and in the night. So after I finished talking to him, I went there. Then there was also some rumors. This monk talks to the sky, like maybe he's mad or something. Like some say he's talking to God. Some say he talks to the sky or something, he's maybe something wrong with his mind. He used to talk to himself. So then I also heard that, but he gave me a lot of inspiring talk. Then I went to this place where I had to spend the night. Then there was a TV going on, like a TV going on and on. I was thinking, there's a window. My bed was here. Like 11, 12, I was thinking, still this is going on. So what happened? I was like curious or something. I just got up and said, why are they not offing this? Then I went, and from there I just suddenly saw. What I saw, the TV was on the other side. What I saw was not very nice, something bad, okay? I will say what it is, something very not good. I got a shock. And I was like frozen. I was in bed. I can't go out also. It's too late. So until it was dawn, I was waiting. Then I was waiting to go and meet this monk and tell what happened to me. So I went to him. And then he was also didn't want to meet me immediately. We were waiting to finish our breakfast. So I was doing the walking meditation. And finally, when he was free, I came and he took me to another tree, under tree. And when he sat down, I was in front of him. To the side, he started talking. What he said was, very interesting. I will tell you in Sinhalese what he said was, Kamesu michachara sikshapaden parisang wenna kiyanne. Pera bhave akusala karma varayak weda karnawa me velawe. And that time I was also planning to go on a walking trip, like wandering because I got some permission from my main teacher, just to go for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, walking and living under tree or living in a monastery. For in the night, like that, I was planning to do that. So the other thing he said was, Pera bhave akusala karmayak vipaka dena kamesu michachara siksha paden parisang wenna kiyanne. Charikave payin wadinda balagana ina eka sansara puruddara karanne me velawe karanne epa kiyanne. When he said suddenly, because now when I saw that TV that time, I was very upset with the people there. I thought they are really bad people, and what are they doing like this? So after what he said was, when he sat down under the tree, that for me to be careful of, what do you call it now? Me to be careful of, the celibate vow I have taken. For me to be careful. Okay, due to past karma. Now the word karma, past life karma, is working now. That the past bad deed I did is working now. That's why I'm seeing that bad. So there all that anger to those people went away. I knew it is my own bad that was bringing this experience. We have in the Buddha's teaching how consciousness arises. Now this is I consciousness. How it arises, Buddha says Sankhara Paccha Vijnana. Okay, Sankhara is the place where you are making karma. Okay, in every moment we are making karma. Maybe I might tell this part also. So every time we are making, when we are angry, we are greedy, we are deluded, we are making karma. If you think like that, would speak and do something, is karma. So this time it made me practically see that what I was experiencing was my own doing in the past, that I can't blame such a person, or then I have to be careful. So what he said was, for me to be careful of this vow, because my past karma in this regard is now taking place, that I might break the vow, being influenced by this experience. Okay? So, and also I was planning to go on a walking trip. He said, he already told this, that he's planning to go on a walking, wandering trip. Tell him not to go at this particular time. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't know. It's a bit of a mechanism. So this is one way also. And okay. Another time also one happened. Yeah, regarding the place I was staying in a temple, there were rumors that the people there are bad and all that. So I was I didn't want to hear rumors until I experienced something. It's not nice if someone comes and tell you some kind of, so I didn't pay much attention. So one day, actually I happened to go from that building to another, and I did see something which, confirmed the people what they said. Then it came to my mind suddenly, be careful, very soon you are going to experience a similar. It was coming to my mind that the very thing I'm judging, that I might be tempted to do a similar thing, that I may be judged. So, and this knowledge came to me like in my mind, like intuition. And next day I was going to India, okay, to Himalayas and all that. When India, as soon as I went to India, I was facing this particular same thing. I was going to blame the other people like they are bad guys, that it was tempting me to do the same wrong things.
Thank you very much, Bhante, for sharing that. We actually have a follow-up question, and it's a very sensitive question, but we decided to ask this because I think it's extremely relevant for the youth, and it's so in today's digital age, many young people are increasingly drawn to pornography, sometimes becoming addicted to it. I'll say an Australian study. The Australian study found that the average age of first exposure was 13 years for boys and approximately 14 years for girls. And I can definitely relate to this from the experiences I've had with peers in primary school even. So how do you see this phenomena affecting spiritual progress and growth in the Dhamma, or just affecting youth overall? Could you share some perspectives on practices like nofap and even brahmacharya?
I have already told. Have you heard about the previous talks?
I haven't done this.
Never?
So
I have already told about this. I have told this topic because I wish somebody in the 2017, when I happened to visit. I think a very relevant one. It's called Kumara Brahmachari, and then which was known in the past, olden time. Today is like zero knowledge of this, and we got knowledge only from our friends. And we also went on I would say I also had to go on that's the part I was telling that, and this made me also, little bit have no confidence to ordain as such. Because nobody told us, even my teacher also used to tell me in a very slight way, really didn't highlight and give me in a very clear way what the damage and the benefit of all these things if you really keep away. I would say it's the devil's Disneyland or what?
That's an interesting way to put it, Bhante. Yes.
Because, it's so much dopamine. It's rush, it's more than heroin or any other drug. Games also another one. They have very much done research, and it kills the soul. it damages the soul. It's not easy, like it artificially activates so much of the brain that so it's very interesting. You have foreign country, the country, in those countries, there is a group who are following. Now, who knows English? In Sri Lanka, like in the village, the parents have somehow educated these children. I have just told briefly, and they are making use of that. And he taught me something, how to monitor and all that, regarding NoFap. You can check in your, actually from the age of 13, 14. Now the puberty starts but a little bit early.
Popular movement, actually. It's a popular movement that's taken.
It's very relevant root. And I think very important. The thing, there are tools, you must go through that. So, and the importance of, that one, like another part I add to that is, like certain spirits enter you so much. So many spirits come to your system. I know one, I told you one who was taken to that international school. She had to face this girl. And what happened, the father couldn't, she would not communicate with anyone. She became so close person. And she happened to disclose to me everything. And in the toilet, she happened to, she used to tell me, she used to keep on. I don't want to tell the channels or whatever. But anyway, and what happened, her grandmother is my close friend. Friend means I know her from young age. She also does yoga, and I have kind of a spiritual connection with her. She's like an advisor to me also. So she once told when she was coming, Dua, I don't know, this might be recorded, doesn't matter. I'm not telling names or places. Dua nala dave me I was wondering, the grandmother is asking the granddaughter, when she was coming to talk to me, have you taken a bath? Why? There was smell of feces. I could see a big silence in the room. I don't know. This I'm now telling the present moment, what I'm experiencing. So much, what is this? Smell of feces. Okay, I don't know what you call it, feces, okay, stools. The smell of that is coming around. She also told me, Swamin once said, I don't know, the smell is coming around me, the smell of feces. Okay, these are unseen spirits. They so much enter your system. Okay, and these are good people. She's a special person, I know. When she was born, I was there. No baby I have ever been when that baby was born. I didn't specially wait for that time, but I happened to come past that way. These are she's like a Bodhi tree, but I know her destiny, some things, that she will be a special girl. So they are the very people who will be caught by this. Okay? They are not the bad ones. Really, the good ones will be easily and be driven and have addictions. So this you have to know, this is like a fantasy. So you have to overcome a fantasy. So one thing is there to know the danger, the damage, how it's going to darken your soul, and how even if you have a bath or anything, it does not clear it. Okay, you have to, and also, now when that way certain hormones are created in the body, okay, when you allow this, what happened? You personally become very weak, and you become like a feather brain, they call it. You can't just stand, you feel uneasy. You want to do this, do that, do this. Now maybe you struggle to be, don't worry about it. Okay, now you stayed long time, so it's not easy to stay in this thing. But you will get, you'll see people who have given, now that is at a mental level. But if it goes to a physical level, the karma is also great, and the effect you are going to get is also going to be very great. Don't learn this after experiencing. Try to have the knowledge beforehand. Okay, so this girl, she told me now, okay, maybe and this so much open. And one thing I see, until age of 18, their parents should be supervising when they're giving this technology. While they're doing their studies or whatever online, they should be there, they should have the phone and they should give. Okay? This is mainly the blame of the parents. Because parents they are controlled by children. What is this? Now yesterday there was also some talk when in the program they asked me, the daughter is atheist and like a small girl, but I can see they are great souls. I can feel that. But so the parent, what I said a nice story again regarding Swami Vivekananda again.
He's spoken very heavily about the concept of abstaining from these things and the benefits of celibacy or brahmacharya, I believe.
And not this way regarding the parents, how they can make an influence. They are the ones who are going to make an influence on the children until the age of 18. At least after that, I don't think they should go behind too much. But what happened, one of the parents, they brought one child to Swami Vivekananda. One of the mother brought. He was like a little fat, overweight, and so he brought to Swami and said, please Swami, give some mantra or bless him so that he doesn't eat sweet. He's addicted to sweets. Okay? You know this?
I just thought it was amusing.
So what happened? The boy, then the Swami Vivekananda said, hereafter, don't eat sweet. No. What he said was, come after 10 days. I forget. Okay? Come after 10 days, he said. So the mother and the boy, they came after 10 days. Then after 10 days, he said, hereafter don't eat sweets. He told this. And then the mother thought, waiting for the mantra or some special blessings. The mother said, Swami, you didn't give the mantra or you didn't bless or do anything. No, this is my blessings, he said. I told him, don't eat sweets hereafter. Then the mother said, why you didn't say this when we first met 10 days ago? That time I was eating sweets. Okay? So now he also, so this is very important. Be and make. This is a very important thing. This you make a mystical influence. And if you really want to change your husband or wife or child, I think this is very important. You must put yourself, and that will have an influence on your child. And at that age, they should be supervising and making sure. So I hope you can look, if you are looking still YouTube or anything, no fap and dopamine detox. And the other thing is the screen, the phone, the white light seem to the blue light. I'm sorry, the blue light seem to affect we have a organ called pineal gland. In the pineal gland, there is this hormone, I think, serotonin.
Serotonin, Bhante.
Serotonin,
yes.
Okay. So that is helping to focus and for us to, it's like a good hormone.
Yeah, feel good hormone.
Feel good hormone, but it's not like, I think, dopamine. It is more, very good. It helps our meditation also to focus, to concentrate. So now when the blue light and all that, it damages. It's well known that it damages that particular hormone. And what happens then? We can't focus. So even YouTube, all these things in internet, also Google and all that, they are made to, there's a nice saying, they say here cannabis is sprinkled and all that. That's how they make, so we can go on hours, we get addicted. But we don't know the damage is so invisible damage is going to affect our whole life. And especially when you get up and you use the phone, and when you sleep, you have, this also, it should be, you should never have a phone. You should be, the parents should have it, and then should be given to you when you need for your studies and all that.
I think it's an established fact that the presence of blue light affects your sleep quality, because we have something called, I think it's optic ganglion cells, which in the eye, which then thinks that we are awake, it thinks it's daylight, so then it produces, we're not able to, it inhibits the production of melatonin, which we need for restful sleep. Okay. Touching on that note, Bhante, we actually had a question, pretty much it's the same thing. The answer you gave was pretty much for this, but I'll just let Diman read this out. So
the question is, Bhante, many young people struggle with an addiction to their smartphones and social media, such as Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, to name a few, and find themselves stuck doom scrolling for hours, which myself and many others...
Why didn't you say this? I want to say this, doom scrolling.
There you go.
But we were present at the last Dhamma discussion, so we picked it up.
You got it from... Oh, Okay.
But
then
I was
okay.
familiar with it
So you're-
before that.
You're
Yes.
a big cheat, sir. Okay, doom scrolling. It's a funny name, man.
Yeah, it's a good word.
We just had I think I'll just finish it off. So Bhante, we actually did a bit of research before asking this question. There was a study that found that, multiple studies that found and showed a link between high smartphone and social media use in adolescents with increased ADHD symptoms, shorter attention spans, impaired concentration, greater impulsivity, and overall poor academic performance, all because of the excessive smartphone and social media use. So the question was, what impact do these technologies have on our spiritual progress, particularly in cultivating mindfulness? So
leave alone the spiritual practice. Just to be at peace and to be, at ease within yourself. If that is going to be disturbed by this, because it starts from first you have to be at peace and at ease. Just you should be able that you are not having unnecessary mental disorders coming out. So spiritual path, it starts by first being a proper human being, coming out of an animal level, an impulsive where you can't concentrate. You are with all this anxiety and depression and all that. This is going to even the spirit world. We don't see the spirit world normally, but this is what leads to those worlds. But to have a general peace, peace of mind. So I would not say practically, sometimes you might have to leave, you must learn to limit it. Another one, before I forget, please, if I don't mind, there's one call, if you have, I think last time I told about Grim Hustler. Did you write that down also?
yes, Bhante.
You already have it.
I think is it a YouTube channel?
Did you look at it?
Yes, Bhante.
How do you find it?
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's.
But he used a little bad word in the end always. But that is nothing compared to what is in it.
Yeah,
because,
quite unconventional, but it's an
not
interesting
conventional.
approach because I think for people who are practicing the Dhamma, I think there's many other sources, but for just a normal
Correct.
person, it's a very
Correct.
yeah.
correct.
Some people can have a look when they're free time.
Yeah, Grim Hustler, because it has an impact. It will make you to really now you must be. It's called Mafia, man of what is this Russian mafia. He represents with tattoos and all that, but he gives some interesting points. It gives some interesting points. It might help you. I think that influence will be helpful. You told me that what to explain regarding the spiritual, how it's going to affect.
So
it's going to affect a lot, because I tell you, even for normal mental peace, even this sight of nice scenery is also a disturbance to go inward. Okay? So now these devices are exaggerating or magnifying the five senses. So how much we are like loading ourselves with this kind of obstacle. Even just if you are looking at something innocent, maybe news or something like that, sports or whatever, these are all going to be blocking you to go inward. So leave alone the other things that put you really addictive and like a drug.
Thank you very much for the answer, Bhante. We'll just focus on the next
But
question.
doom scrolling.
Yes.
You know about it, right? The word also nice, huh? Doom scrolling.
So it's
Okay,
just.
doom.
I think we can all relate. I can relate, and Divan, I think we can both relate to. It's an interesting analogy I thought is for children when they cry they give a dummy. For adults you give them a smartphone to control their mental crying. So
And now
Yeah.
small children also, like toddlers, they are given a phone quickly. They can operate so fast. What I see is a spirit center the body, and from young age itself they are taken over by this. That's why they have the capability of operating. Otherwise, at that stage, how can they press this that we can't do that? Okay, I have seen this. So already it's like small toddlers. How they manage. They open up that YouTube something and then. This is a very, I don't know. If you want to really progress, but make sure at a young age, no fap, just check on that. Because not from the schools or universities what you're going to get. Okay, I will add to something. When you aggravate negative emotions like desire, lust, and other things, there's a certain hormone that is created in your body, like adrenaline and certain hormones. Those hormones that is created, it creates your personality. It makes you look, I would say, like you can notice if someone is taking drugs. Some you can notice if they're drunk and they come. You can see they look something very pale and not very pleasant. Okay, unless you're also in the same vibration, you might find it okay. But say you are not doing these things, then also something happens in your body. Say you stop using phones, you will see a big change, big look in your even look. For a few days, 2-3 days now who are doing the retreat, I could notice that they are beginning to shine. Okay, now say if you do these things, the spiritual things of creating more positive energy, something else also gets formed in your body. Okay, if something can form when you get angry and greedy and all that, then when you are not having that, when you are having compassion, when you have wisdom, these things, something should get formed. It does get formed. So that is called ojas. In the Ayurvedic, they have this name, ojas, which is opposite to the other type of hormones, which normally travels so fine, it travels to the brain. And the areas of the brain which are not functioning, they start functioning when it goes in upwards. And they get deposited there. And that deposited fine material makes you have those thoughts again. So it's like a chain reaction, like this makes these thoughts happen, the thoughts make this happen, and they keep increasing. Other way also same. You keep on doing something which is greed, hate, and this one that creates this hormone, and then that hormone makes you have like this. It goes like a vicious cycle. Now the other way, when you create, what happens? These ojas, when they are created, you can know in the body when it's created. You can see in the difference in the body, especially in the cheeks. You can see a shine coming, and the skin becomes very shiny. Not with Nivea or what is Fair and Lovely. No. I was offered, some butter from Africa.
I think some people will try to practice this now just for the therapeutic benefits. It
is true. It is true. It's not something I'm trying to. So actually, I applied. I thought I would go and tell when I'm going to meet them, because this African butter, these people had not. They hadn't. I think they had only this to offer. So I took it. They said it's used for massage and all that. So today I had this, the lips, maybe the dry. So I applied a little bit. Then I remembered, shall I apply? No, I'm joking. Okay. I'm joking, right? Never. What is this? You look like a dead dummy with lipstick, and all these people who are, you can see there's no life in them. So, there will be a shine coming in your cheeks, especially when you have devotion and samadhi. When you withdraw from the five senses, if you have enough of that charm will start to come. There's a charm, okay? And there's another one, when you do the analyze, something else get formed. It's called tejas, ojas and tejas. This tejas is another type of very fine, more finer than the ojas. And then you have like the forehead, and this thing, the shine starts to come. And the skin becomes very smooth, like the shiny, smooth. The other way around, even if you're dark or black, doesn't matter. It will become very shiny. And the aura becomes to, you'll be attracted. If you're a boy, you'll be attracted by all the girls. If you're a girl, you'll be attracted. So this is the other way if you want to create a relationship with others. Okay? Yeah, it is true. It is true. There's when the relationships are broken, they give this advice sometimes, how to bring the other person's back. Yeah. So this is very important. This is very interesting. Ojas and tejas, they get created. And what is created there that creates that same pattern, the same thing is stimulated for you to create. Then when you begin to grow in wholesomeness and beauty and magnetism, these all begin to start to happen. But otherwise, if you want to be just a normal person, just go, you can be like that.
I would just like to add, just for the audience, because I think the issue of pornography is a big issue, and especially among youth. And just even though the spiritual benefits some may question, I think it's really worthwhile for people to have a look at the impact that it has. That's been evidenced by studies. I think there was a specific scientific study that found, and you can search this up, that it deteriorates or erodes the prefrontal cortex. And we know that the prefrontal cortex, Bhante, is responsible for judgment. It's responsible for executive control. So it's like mindfulness and practice that they help support this prefrontal cortex, or the development of the prefrontal cortex. But these practices it's like eroded. And this is not my opinion, but this is you can find many reputable scientific sources as well. So those different angles to look at this topic.
This is a big damage, actually. This danger, because not a small joke. It doesn't look because the amount of dopamine that is, there says, like the brain neurons that fire up, the links that happen is coming closer to heroin and all that. So that firing, and I know another way. Tremendous demons and all enter the system. That's what, then you're not in control. Then that's what the addictions come. You're driven by that. Then if you allow that, they get strong. Those dimensions get opened automatically. I have told this last time, the program. And then this leads to, if you look at great serial killers and all that, who have gone to great crime, they have first started from this. Okay.
It's interesting that Ted Bundy, in his a serial killer, he actually mentioned this topic. He actually mentioned in his interview before actually being executed that there's an alarming link between pornography and these people in prison.
Great crime, it starts from that.
Which I thought was very interesting.
Correct, yeah, and this is very, very dangerous thing. Now even if you see cases where they're suddenly kidnapped and doing something, they have first gone through this first in your mind, imagination, and even who are kept, just imagine, kidnapping and keeping, kept for years. What was it? He was telling, finally when he was going to be executed, I don't know his name, when he was going to be executed, he was telling, I'm a sick person, give me treatment. What was he addicted to? He was telling me, pornography. I don't like to tell, it's not nice. We have some rules where we can't, tell a little bit vulgarish this thing, but for your good, I hope, this. So he telling, I have this sickness. So are you going to have this sickness where you're going to lead, maybe, I hope not, but lead to become, and some who are old, they're still having it. There's no change, no one has told them, no one has done. And your body will be human, but one will be missing a lot on life. To live properly. I hope these points might help you all. And if something go through, how like 3 days, 1 week, like slowly, where you slowly, allow and see the difference you are getting, and maybe the links and all that. And I hope after meeting this, you might get some special power to do that. And chant Itipiso Gatha. You try these things, okay? Like before sleeping, 21 times to get some force. The person who controlled, who the master of controlling the mind. We have to think of such people to get some strength. So you can chant, the Itipiso Gatha. Before we used to sleep, we used to chant. And in the jungle with the bears, this is very effective. Do you like to hear a bear story? In the jungle, but I mean, one or two? Okay. I was in this jungle in 2007, this was like very deep place. No monk has stayed before. Maybe in the olden times there were monks there. This is called Bambaragasthala. You know, Kudumbikala, have you heard? Kudumbikala? Okay. So this is also inside the jungle in Yala. Yala you heard? In Sri Lanka you have the national park, Yala. So in Yala, inside the Yala there is like, I like this area. It's like olden Rajas, king's time. They have made this, now they are in ruins. Now the habitat is bears and, other animals. So this area was full of bears. They have not been known to they have not much contact with human beings. So in the night, my attendant or who make the food was staying in another cave. He was there only to make the food. And I don't meet him also. I used to have my bowl in like a hole and then keep it there. And then with like a string, I used to take it so that I won't meet him also. There's no point. You go to jungle and we have a chit chat. That's what's the point of going to jungle. So we used to stay like that. In the nights, when it comes to the night, you could hear like 11 or 10, like from the throat, you go like that. It's a very different sound, So when they used to try to, get in, we used to chant. We have a mantra called Virupakke mimittam mittang irapate me chabhyaputte mimittam mittang kanna gotama kehicha, like this. There is a karuna, like a compassion vibration sending mantra. So actually the hunters were surprised because they have been attacked. They are going to with their guns and all that. They were thinking we are having some special power. How are we staying there without being attacked by the we means me and the attendant, of course. So one day I have like fallen asleep. Like in my dream, I'm hearing this sound. Okay, and I'm like this. Slowly, I have the lamp. So normally, like unconsciously, we make the light more, the flame more. I just and this thing, and then the bear is here. The virupakke mimittam mitta erapati. When I just turn like this and doop. This was the closest I had with them. But snakes, yeah, recently, like 1 year maybe, or 1-2 years. Last stay in the Vihara, that was more inside. The army camp, they are the ones who gave me food. There was a small army post. It's like 30 kilometers away from the nearest farming area. Then it's all jungle. So there, in the night when I happen to put the torch, there's snake here, snake here, snake there. So, this, I was then wondering, you can't be frightened. You can't be frightened to be there. So you just have to have that kind of fearlessness. But this mantra, this chanting, this do have an effect in the atmosphere. Okay? There are other times, I don't know, I've gone through the LTT area where the terrorists were walking, all the time walking. Many things happen there. So in the night, I would encourage you, just chant Itipiso Gatha. Itipiso Gatha, when I say, your mothers have told this. It might be helpful in, these people. Sometimes you have like bears, human beings also. And you can use this power. Okay, I will tell you something maybe with human beings. What happened with... okay. If you have... Yeah, sometimes animals... The dogs also. When they coming, like we are going arms round and the dog's coming running. So one day, one dog, they couldn't control. And this dog came at us, and it's like very ferocious. And then I had another brother monk behind me. So I used to go, like long distances of going arms round, okay? Suddenly the owner was shouting, oh, this dog, stop. And this dog jumped at me. Soon as it came near my the robe or the feet, it just closed its mouth. And there is something, best thing when there's crisis is to keep yourself still. The stillness has a power if you can really make yourself still. So I asked my brother monk later, what did he think about that time? He said, Suapatvetva. But anyway, that time, like this, with animals, with people, with my auntie. I told this, no? Did I tell this? Last time or this time?
Don't think so, Auntie.
Okay, how I use practically the Buddha's teaching to face my angry auntie. You like to hear this? Then at the age of 18, I used to apply whatever I was reading, right? So there is one teaching where Buddha talks about the body, how our body is made up of. He doesn't talk in terms of electrons and that time, no. But he talks in terms of nature of the body. Like the hard nature here and the hard nature outside is like same. Okay? Like the hard nature, like here my cheekbone and the this or the this. If you look at it in like that, it is same nature wise. Say the liquid nature, which is predominant, the nature of being the liquidity, like we have in blood or urine and all that. So it's in the tap, the water that flows, if you look at it in the mind, they are the same. Okay, say for example urine inside, you think it's my urine, but when it goes into the commode or into the toilet and then mix it with the water, what happens to me there? So there's a way of looking, really seeing whether there's a you here. So all these four elements, heat, watery nature, liquid nature, and then the solid nature, and then the air nature. Air means the movement, like we have the air inside, like we are breathing and inside our body. So when you look at just because it's in this space, we think it is me. Okay? But when you look at outside and here, it's the same. So this way, there's a meditation to look at like that, so that you don't think this is me too much. You begin to see this is like not me. It's like me is a concept. All right? So like a car, for example, if you take the wheels out and the chassis out, then suddenly it looks like, parts. But you put together, then the idea of car come. Even this building. So same way our body with flesh and this thing, when you put together, this idea of a person comes to us. So this particular sutta I was reading. Okay, the Buddha, what he was telling this. And then this ear, the sound that comes, it comes as a vibration and then a thought comes. So are they really real? Very real. They are like, if you look at like that, the ear is made out of that hard nature and so on. And you know already with your meditation that it is, you take it, it's empty. Okay? So I used to picture this, not just read only. So they become a meditation. And then I begin to see this is not my ear. And the sound that comes and the thoughts that created is also not mine. Because without an ear, I will not get that sound or that experience. Okay? So I used to practice these things. And suddenly one day I was a little stubborn with this auntie. I was left with this auntie. My parents went to South Africa, and for my A-levels I had to stay in Sri Lanka. And then this auntie used to give me pocket money. So one day she took me to the tooth relic with parcels and all that. But I came back, I wanted to go again, but I want to go in the line because it was looking more, nice, with the pirit going on, the chanting going on, and devotion and all that. And those days, the LTT problems, they were very worried when a lot of crowd gathered because, it was, their bombs were going on. So I suddenly told her, I didn't ask her, can I go? I said, I am going. So I was a little stubborn those days. So I just told her I am going to Tooth Relic again to pay my homage. She just started, boo. Okay, she scolded me. And then suddenly what I practice, I just see this sound is coming. And then it is not my sound, and this only feelings, perceptions, not real. I was waiting like that. Then she wondered what happened. And this was the first and the last time she scolded me. Okay? So this is how you can use practically. You can develop your mind in such a way. And so even when I went to LTT area, even in the jungle, we have this idea, this compassion to all the animals and the spirits. There are so many experiences, not easy to stay inside the jungle. There are a lot of stories if I'm going to stay, what happened, even in spirits. Like sounds begin to come. Like when you have schizophrenia or what? Schizophrenia.
Schizophrenia.
Yeah. This kind of experience, who go through that, it comes like the sound comes because there are spirits around you. So suddenly it came to me also. Like in that jungle, I don't see them luckily, but I know if there's presence of something. So that time the sound, unusual sound like shh, like then I quickly left the jungle. And then I was researching what was happening on. I was slightly getting the sound in Colombo also. To see, I have some friends or some advisors, I have some contact. And with their knowledge, I happen to know, like, they have come to Colombo also, with big stomach, with long, what is this, tongue. Then what I do was to go to, the holy place, the shrine, and the Buddha Bodhi tree, going up and down, doing this thing, then they disappear. Then they disappear one by one. So that's why we don't have a cleansing process. This Chaitya, this Bodhiya, they have a cleansing process for those unseen effects we are going through. So these are tools. If we know practically this is going to happen, we can be free from sometimes for no reason we are having this disturbance and doctors can't diagnose this thing, but you will get answers from that. These are maybe LTT. I'll tell one or two. Okay. Now I think time is.
Bhante, we would like to go to the live Q&A just to open it up. Is that all right, Bhante? So we have some questions.
Question from
Just from the audience.
That's good,
Thank you, Bhante, for the enlightening talk. So for those of you here in person and those joining us online, we'd love to hear your questions. Please raise your hand if you have a question for Bhante.
And I'll pass the mic to whoever wants to answer the question or ask the question.
I think I enjoyed this. I enjoyed having this, It's refreshing for me also. I don't know whether they've... Okay, please.
Just a reminder, guys, for those of you joining online in the live stream, we'll also be taking questions from viewers online. So you can type your questions in the chat window. Thank you. Would anyone like to start the... All right.
Okay, yes.
Thero Saranam Bhante. My question is about horoscopes, because a lot of our parents do believe in them, and even I do to an extent. In terms of Buddhism, does Buddhism support horoscopes, and is horoscopes formed based on karma?
Okay. Buddhism is mainly touching now Buddha's main goal was final liberation. He would now if you look at the other religions also, you don't it tells more about how to live and all that, like even Muslim, Islam, and a way of life, and more of that is there. But in the Buddha's teaching is main to do with self-realization and final topics. So this Buddha actually puts them, if you make that an importance like horoscopes or anything, then Buddha would put it in their right place in relation to that this thing. But it's not that they are called sciences, but there are like so many sciences which has truth, and also it represents karma, as you were telling. It's one way of, in ancient times, the rishis were trying to find out, the seers, wise men. It is sometimes even the Buddha himself as a bodhisattva who was perfecting to become a Buddha. He's the one who sometimes brought these sciences to the world, so that can bring more solutions to the people. This was one kind of way of like the weather forecast. Okay, we have tools for that. Same way, the rishis try to find the tools for our destiny, our karma, how it's working.
Thank you, Bhante.
Okay.
So does anyone else have any questions? Please don't be afraid, guys. Is there right? I think we do have a question.
Okay.
Do you mind?
She looks quite grown up, and
Well, I'm not as young as these guys are.
Okay. Are you a parent or
No.
not yet? Okay.
I just want to know if someone is going through a bad time, maybe through an effect of a bad spirit or from karma, what can we do to lessen that effect or get rid of that? Like any cleansing processes or anything?
Yes. Now, so many comes to me also, actually. So I direct them to use a certain force, especially because for a negative energy, you have to bring a positive energy to overcome that. Okay? So in my subject, in my field, for me, like Buddha is like a living thing. They are like, so it's with faith also. So I have ways I tell when there's no solution and like things are going really bad. For my part, I tell them to do certain things. related with the Bodhi tree, and how to think of the Buddha's infinite, the noble deeds he did in many lives, and to recall that, and how that power is still working in his name. Now even in this building, in these kind of institutions, that his things are working. When you're doing the way he has said, then he's alive there. If you do something, a person says, that person begins to live in that doing. Do you get that point? So you make him alive. That is one way. So I tell to and also using certain times, which I also tell at a Brahma Murta. That is the time of especially 3:20 to 4, 5, 6, all the way down, to go and place, talking to the Bodhi tree, placing it to, thinking how he has placed some things after he passed away. He placed some things in the world where people can get certain blessings to come out of these sufferings, especially unsolvable problems, where we have a way of communicating to him. When we can't do the practice, the highest practice he tells you to do, we can go to a second best thing to remove. So that is one option which I've seen results also, where they go and then they have to recall in a certain way and then to present it to the Buddha, like thinking that how he is the master to resolve karma. Okay, so recalling that this Bodhi tree represents his body in a certain way, and placing it, that the merits, the energy you have created by now doing this good karma, and all the time, many years how you have accumulated, recalling that this hidden problem will be resolved, that I lay it at your noble feet. This is one way I do, okay. And there's another one I tell after 9 o'clock to chant something and then to place like that. These are one way. And offering to the monks, when you come, offering, when you do those things, these are tools where you can get that mental peace and counteract. And then the other one is making a change in your life, what you were addicted to, or this thing, that you strengthen your system to remove those things. That is called sila. And bhavana, that is something where you learn to, that is the highest, how to overcome this. Now in the retreat I have told some people, they can join also who have problems in the mornings. In the mornings, I told them they can join this 3 to 6 o'clock. We have to we are allowed to practice that connecting to the cosmic energy and the Buddha Shakti, where the unresolved things are going, that they are dealt with. And we have some interesting experiences. Something sometimes freaking out also. Okay, that's very interesting, because now some told me when they came to the hall, when they were there, they couldn't concentrate. Why? This retreat, I have also made like a application form to check your karma. To check your karma, and so now it has become this thing, the mere fact you are able to come physically, okay, you are eligible for the retreat. But who have what I have mentioned, that is told by the Buddha actually, how to recruit the people who are going to meditate, to attain, to ordain, those points I have taken and put into that, like you must be free from loans. At least if you have a loan, you should be able to manage the loan, and like permission from parents and things like that. And you should not have karmic diseases, which are like chronic. And so now there are people who do come with problems also, with great problems. And what they say is, I'm staying there, Swamin once said, but I can't concentrate. Yes, because in that, at that level, because of that level of karma or your life situation, you can't do this in a full way. But the reason you just came there also is good enough. You will have an effect, because that positivity from that area where they are doing this great sacrifice or puja, of meditating, the practice being practiced, that is going to affect them also very fast. It's going to clear their, those negative effects. But if you are having problems and that time you are going to intoxicate yourself, going to a bar or going to some disco or going to games, or the problem will can become, because this problem situation was created by attachment and clinging in the past lives or past. So the final resolve will be when you let go, because they are coming as a lesson for you and a test from nature. How far you will be able to, it all comes by nature. It's not coming like, so you should take it, create the positive thought, positive mind. If you can do that, then those lessons will be learned and it won't repeat again. And this knowledge also must be there when great problem. Before I came to do this retreat, I have a mark in my body now. This is given by a dog in Delhi. In the jungle, there are so many animals I had to face. But none of them, if something happened there, I'm finished, because there's no way of taking to hospital, nothing. But in Delhi, I was bitten by this dog. And I had an operation in the Himalayas, with the stones. Then after that, I was in the Himalayas, Kailash, with high altitude. And after the operation, I didn't think it's going to affect, but the blood has gone during the operation. So then I was feeling a tremendous weakness. But anyway, I didn't go back. I did that, went to Kailash and returned. Then after that only, they start to do these retreats and all that. So I have seen this all the time. With great obstacles and difficulties, there are gems waiting in front of you. So you must learn to, be patient. All these difficult situations are going to bring your good time also. Okay.
Thank you, Bhante. Hopefully that answers the question. So do we have any more questions? Yeah. I think there is an online question actually. So, yeah. Right, so we actually have an online question that's been submitted to the live stream chat. The question was, Swami Wahanse, could you please advise / guide us as a beginner how to make the meditation practice a routine in daily life? So,
first check your addictions. What you immediately, when you're going to wash a car or clear a clock full of mud, you don't try to polish immediately. You will first take out the big mud parts away. Then you slowly give it a wash, and then maybe you put, I don't know, what is this, soap or whatever, I don't know, and then after that you dry it. Same way, your mind, your life, you must first check immediately. Say you're smoking. Then if now smoking comes in the internet, so whatever you are doing in that, try your best. You see, find it, what you're doing, that you're losing your energy, you're going to more entertainment than focus, then try to remove that for a few days. Okay, it starts like that. And then in the morning, like you brush your teeth, you wash your face, you can start with little puja, little chanting, and this compassion meditation is a very nice one, where you wish all beings, may they be happy. It creates a lot of positive energy, and a lot of energy actually. So that will also, it will be very helpful. So make sure you do that. You can do while you're going the vehicle, just freely done. You just wish good for them. May they are like if their mother or their parents are there, then they will be wishing good. Even their big maid, big people, whoever they have their own mother and father somewhere. Okay, for them they're still their baby. So same way, you must get that feeling, not look at their details, who they are, what they are. That's one thing. And the other thing is, for your meditation to go well, one is the addictions. You must check and correct that, and try to, through 3 days, try to see how you are removing that. And if you have parents, elders, especially parents, make sure that you are in good terms with that you're obeying them. That's very important. Without that, all that inner, this thing is not going to work for you. Okay? So make sure that you are not hurting them, or in any way you're obeying them, but not in something where they are doing something which is not, they are breaking the rules of like lying, stealing, or something like that, drinking, smoking, that you don't agree. That's also kindly you don't agree. You don't sort of criticize them or something, what they are doing. Okay, these are very important steps for you to start. But daily habit, especially with the phone, be careful. And after making some sort of ritual is very good in the mornings, and do this particular practice of compassion. And when you are visualizing the whole universe, like outside, the whole earth, human beings, may they be free from greed, hate and delusion. Like you picture the earth, all human beings, may they come to peace of mind, purity of mind, and may they be liberated from all defilements. Then animals, all animals, lakhs and billions of them, unseen spirits, may they get a human birth. And the other divine beings, may they also come to final rest, peace, free from all suffering. Like that, you can visualize. This will, after you practice, you'll find a coolness coming to your mind if you do it properly. And then you can watch the breath, let go that also, little bit. First day you will not get proper results. While you're changing your normal, grosser things that you're doing, you must start this already. And maybe chanting 21 times Itipiso Gatha also, or 12 times. And then when you feel cool and calm, start the day. Try to have, like, the whole day will be affected by the state of mind. You will have it's like a sunshine in your mind. And then you start, without feeling tired, you will be doing those work. That's the important thing. You learn to do this work without getting tired, mentally tired. Okay, that is an art that you can try to master.
Thank you very much, Bhante. It was really interesting. Recently, personally, I was looking at loving kindness meditation and the effects. And it's interesting that there's scientific articles that show, they call it LKM, loving kindness meditation, being effective for things like anxiety, depression, shown to alleviate. So it's been really nice to see there's a scientific basis for those practices.
And sorry, I want to add another one. Another meditation out of all this is the best meditation will be wisdom. You must read some books regarding meditation. That's how you start. That's going to be a good company. And other thing is, now you might try to get it from the internet and read it from that. Remember, you're doing it with blue light and diminishing. You must slowly come out of the internet, the screen, to a book. Then only if you want to really evolve, unless for work or some purpose, you must do that. Otherwise, if you want to develop your brain fully, if you are in that direction, you must slowly know that this is a deterioration, it's taking you down. And this way, when I come to a book or something, then I'm developing my focus power, my concentration power. Okay?
Thank you very much, Bhante. I think just with the time constraints, we have time for one more question, and we did have a question on the live stream. It's quite a heavy, quite a weighted question. I don't know if we can answer within the 10 minutes that we have, but so the question is, what does life mean and why should we live? So it's a bit of an existential question about the meaning of life and why should we live. So it's maybe a question to ask at the start, but
it's a very simple question.
Thank you, Bhante.
One day I heard a simple answer from one monk also. It's quite correct, I think. Meaning of life, right? Okay. Meaning of life is, there's no meaning in life. Do you get that? Really, meaning of life is to know that there is no meaning in life. This is actually the meaning of life. There's no meaning. So when you really understand this, are you all going? Putta? You have to go, wait 1 minute, 1 minute. Call them. I have give something, just 2 minutes. Call them. Call them also. Can you call them?
Can whoever... Yeah.
No, you can come little bit here. I have to see them. Just close. Don't problem. You can go. Just give me 1-2 minutes. Okay. Putta Mithandan, come here. Just here. Don't be shy. Okay. Only you and then any other else who want to go? Wait. Anybody else? Only those two. Take this strength when you're going out. So ආපු සියලු දෙනාට මේ ධෛර්ය ශක්තිය ලැබේවා. කිසි කෙනෙක් අඩු වෙන්නේ නැතුව ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ අධ්‍යාත්මික ජීවිතයට සංසාර පෙරපින මතු කරගන්න. සම්බුදුන් වහන්සේගේ අනන්ත ගුණ ශක්තිය බලය ආරක්ෂාවට හිටිත්වා. සංසාරේ දවසින් දවස මේ ලැබිච්ච උතුම් මනුෂ්‍යාත්මය මේ වගේ යුගයක ඒ බුදු කෙනෙක්ගේ මහා කරුණාවේ අරුමන ඉෂ්ට සිද්ධ වෙන්න. දෙමව්පියන්ට සැනසෙල්ලක් ඇති වෙන ආරක්ෂාව කරෙත්වා. වහන්සේ ගුණ පුරාගෙන ගිය ශක්තිය දෙනාට මේ උතුම් ධර්ම රැකවරණය ලැබෙත්වා. තෙරුවන් සරණයි පුතා. You can go. Yes. Try not to talk today. Tonight eat something and tomorrow morning try not to talk tonight. Okay? To get the full effect of this.
Just about with the question we had in the live stream, Bante. So the question was, what does life mean and why should we live? So you were just answering that question.
We should live to know that there's no meaning of life, to realize this. We can know it also, but realizing is another thing. Somebody is talking. The machine is talking. Eh? Okay. Yeah, the meaning of life is to know there's no meaning. You must live to know this. If you don't live to know this, your life is wasted. It's so nice, there's no meaning. Otherwise, if there's meaning, big problem. So I hope that's why, like in a dream, in a dream, if there's a nightmare or anything, no problem. What you gain in a dream is also no meaning. If you do something in a dream, it's to wake up. If you wake up in a dream, no problem. We say finally all are going to die, So then what have we done? Everything we have done looks like zero. So in this light, really speaking, meaning of life is to know there's no meaning in life. And to to realize this is the purpose of living.
Thank you very much for the insightful answer, Bante. I think we will... Yes, thank you so much, guys, for participating. That pretty much draws this discussion to a close. We extend our heartfelt gratitude for Venerable Bambalapitiye Gnanaloka Thero for generously sharing his profound wisdom and experiences with us today. Just let Dimar say the rest
of it. Through his teachings, we've been reminded of the timeless relevance of the Dhamma in navigating the complexities of modern life. May the Dhamma continue to flourish and guide us towards finding true peace, happiness, and liberation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
So, all of you, not much questions, right? Okay. So, all blessings, and I was very happy to, get this kind of presentation. It's been a very rare moment for me with, so capable to see young people like that. I'm very happy. It's very good. You are very lucky to have this kind of, support. We didn't have this kind of support at all when I was in. So this is your good karma, good destiny. By force or by something, you are brought to this kind of thing. So I hope you will grow. You take maximum use of all this knowledge and surrounding. From a young age, you can make a big change in your life. with this knowledge. Please go through NoFap. Make sure that's a very important topic, dopamine detox. And regarding the phone and all that, if you have the thing, maybe I told you about Grim Hustler, go through this and make sure parents are kept this thing and daily try to see where you are, what you are addicted to, and make sure you make some changes and try to bring meditation into your normal life where you have peace of mind and do the things. You do the work, but you also have that peacefulness and be handsome and beautiful. No need to use fair and lovely, okay? Because your deeds are so fair and your thoughts are so fair. That's very important. You can now itself train that, and people will be surprised how you're doing that, how you're getting that. Are you connected with the Berwick here, the temple? Oh, I'm very happy because so this Soma Hamdro was like a Vivekananda. Have you heard about him? No? Somahandru, you have never heard about him, you only see the picture here maybe. He was a very super monk. He was like a big force in Sri Lanka. Lakhs of people, they think, how he got it? By reading. Reading the Dhamma and meditating on it, and he lived a very pure life. He was living in temples, but he was a very, he used to tell about how the ojas. Actually, he got that word from me when we were having discussion. And it's very interesting how it relates to bring some, and he was like a big force in Sri Lanka at that time, even for younger people. So think of it, you are in this place. He was a Sri Lanka Buddhist Vivekananda, I would say, the modern time. As a small boy, I saw him, and like you all, then later on, he was very famous, so this was very important that you can become. So I hope you can read some books. That's important. Get some books. That will be the strongest way that you can, spectrum of Buddhism or nutshell in Buddhism. These things you can get them. Word of the Buddha we are doing, but it's very much with the, from the original words, and it's dealing with the main topics of the Buddha's teaching. So if you like to go like that, find out just suddenly, just from outside, don't reject it. Try to read some of these books and...
I would like to add, Bhante, that we actually refurbished the English
library.
Buddhist library. So anyone here, especially youths, I've personally found this to be a treasure house of wisdom. It doesn't just contain Buddhist texts, but texts from other religions. There's even a copy of the Bible up there. So it's just for anyone who's seeking, I guess, that knowledge, we have that refurbished, that library. So it contains the Tripitaka, the original words of the Buddha, along with Therapiyadasi and a lot of the texts that Bhante has mentioned in today's discussion.
You have also the Bhikkhu Bodhis, Samyutta Nikaya, Majjhima Nikaya.
Yes, we have Bhante.
So, okay. All my best wishes for you all. Okay, 1 minute. You all get all the support in the coming time. You all get all the energy, strength for the practice. May the Devatas give all protection, and the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. May you be guided to experience what is truth, not dogmatically falling to any side. May this particular not be influenced by any selfish energies, forces or teachings, but selfless, pure teachings may it affect your lives. Devatas give all protection. All the merits that you have accumulated, may it be transferred to all the Sataravaram Devatas, the protecting deities, and the King of God, and Vishwakarma Divyaputra and Mahasararat, Sahampati Brahma Divirajan Mahasararat, Ishivara Munivaru Siddhalarat, මේ බුද්ධ ශාසනය ආරක්ෂා කරන මණිකක් වගේ 33 කෝටියක් සම්‍යක් දෘෂ්ටික දේවතාවුන් වහන්සේලාට. All the deities of them, may they get an offering, offer these merits. And Deva Senadipativaruntat, senators of Devas who are protecting Gandharvaruntat, Bhairavaruntat, Polo Mahikantavatat, Akashatat, Prithviyatat. Siyalu aragatta ee uttama මේ බුදු සසුන පණමින් ආරක්ෂා කරන තරුණ පරපුර අනාගතයේදී young generation, may they be protected for this practice. May they carry on keeping these teachings alive. May they first appreciate it, realize this. If it is true, no need by force. Don't let them just put it aside. May they be real truth seekers. And I hope this energy will get this honesty, truth. You will shine to become great people. You have a big mission in the coming time. May that enlighten in you. You have a big job to do. And I believe noble souls have been born. Definitely, they are not going to be like animals and some kind of barbarians. Definitely, in these noble families, these souls, that old souls we call them, they are definitely here, and they will light this torch again for the entire humanity to get the strength to come out of all tears and worries and fear. May the Devatas give all protection, the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, and all the human beings, especially in Australia, may they get a share of this merit, and all other countries. The Kasavate Mahime, Sasane, Rekavarane, Hek Silu Dema, Lokasatyata, Arakshavak Vitva, Sambuddha Vansake Buddha Paramitavata, Buddha's infinite or many lives, how we are perfected. May you pay respects to that. And not only that, the Buddha's willpower or the Buddha Adhishtaneta, Buddha Shaktiyata, Namaskare Vitva, Siri Yativaran Vansarata Namaskare Vitva. May Sasane Rakakanapu, Somaswami Manselai, Mahanayaka Swami Manse, Evagem Sielu, May Vajrarame, Hativecha Mahauttama, Taham Camp, Pahan Temple. ඒ උත්තමයන් වහන්සේලාගේ පුරුකක් වගේ ඉස්සරහට පෙරම් පුරාගෙන යන උතුමෝ මේ අස්සෙන් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම මේගොල්ලන්ගේ බලයේ ශක්තිය මතුවෙන්න. බුදුන් වහන්සේගේ ශ්‍රී පාදේ ශ්‍රී සංඛ්‍යා චක්‍රයත් ඒකේ අනුභවය සිල් දෙනාට ආශිර්වාදයක් වෙන්න. සුඛින් දුක්ඛා නිරෝගා නිබ්බාන පච්චයෝත. සෝපත් වෙත්වා දුකින් මිදෙත්වා නිවන් සුව. Anyone facing any disturbance or little sadness or anything still while we are speaking, you can slightly raise your hand, and I might specially do a little prayer for you in my heart. Anyone? Okay. Anybody? Don't worry if you don't want to even say, it doesn't matter. Sambuddha Ananta Guna Padya. Sri Pade Mahamaya. Can you put on that recording? Just 1 minute, wait. 1 minute. 1 minute, not yet. Not yet. Just 1 minute. Manushyanta Buddhan Vahansege Vishve Shaktiyat Rakavarnyak Vidva. Baba, Bakshar Baba. can put that on. Slowly, little slow. बुद्धों के शास्त्रे, बुद्धों के नाम में खसावती महिमा मतवेत्वा कसत्यादि उद्धम Continue this, okay? Continue this.
Quick notice